breaking all the rules, chronic blues, killing the accordions. We don't follow these ordinance, coordinated with a smoke is spliffs. Thank you, everybody, and welcome back. I am Michael Real, and this is the Create One podcast. And today we have a very, very special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Melissa Mel, aka Multifaceted. I try to think of more AKAs, but I'm just not that cool.
AKA the shit, AKA, AKA here she is, AKA she's back with a vengeance.
Yes.
2020, watch out.
Yes.
Thank you for being here with us.
Of course.
So yeah, if just a little backstory of how I know Mel. Last year, I don't know how it went. I don't know if I contacted you. I think I contacted you.
I think so.
But you know, I'm a photographer. She's a model, and I was like, let's shoot some stuff. So I got the opportunity to work with you on that, and that was pretty cool. Yeah. And then we worked again. We worked 3 times last year.
Yeah, that's wild. Like, I don't think I've ever shot with any photographers out here more than once, actually. Mm-hmm. Like, just TFP, like one-on-one. I think it was just always one and done. But yeah, we shot 3 times.
And the last time that we shot was a pretty big one.
Thank you for that. That was a beast.
How many looks did we do in the span of just a couple hours?
It was like, I want to say like 8 looks.
8 looks.
At least, because I was doing like some fashion styling app, and I wanted to get like all the looks and like switch it up. So yeah, it must have been at least 8 looks.
That's I've never done that before.
Me neither. I haven't done it again since either.
I mean, we can try to go for a new record this year if we ever want to.
Gosh.
But that was an amazing experience for me, because it looked like we did multiple shoots.
Yeah.
And when we did them in different areas too,
Yeah.
I think we were like in Echo Park, we were downtown. Mm-hmm. We did like
was it like Chinatown
areas and stuff like that. But we did it.
Yeah, they all looked like completely different environments. You never know that they were like within 2-3 blocks of each other.
But see, that's just the creativeness with you. You're like
frugal.
I want to do something, Mike. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. It was a good experience, and for me too, because it was actually like a challenging experience as a photographer to get things done like that within a short amount of time, because I think we only did like 3 or 4 hours, maybe. I want to say maybe a little bit more over that.
It wasn't too long.
It wasn't too long, because we weren't out that long.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience for me as a photographer, because I was never challenged like that. I've never had a challenge until.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, well, thank you, thank you. So yeah, that's just a little backstory of how I met Mel. We did some collaborative work together, and it was awesome. And the stuff that we produced from the photos was pretty awesome. Yeah. Till this day, my favorite picture that we've collaborated on from the photo shoot was the one on the beach on the sunset. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
The one where you're like kind of like kneeling down.
Yes.
And I don't know. I thought that shot was really amazing, because it was on the beach. It was a sunset, and I had like a flash, and it came out pretty dope. What was your favorite from some of the shoots that we did?
I was honestly going to say the first shoot that we did with like the red. It's probably because the look was like the red leather jacket with like the white lace underneath in front of the Pike outlets with the Ferris wheel.
The Ferris wheel in the background.
Yeah,
that was so dope.
Yeah. But we were really out there on Huntington Beach on the rocks with a light.
Yep. I was trying not to fall and kill myself or break any of my equipment, but I was like, "Fuck it, we're gonna get this thing done."
Yeah, we killed it.
That was pretty amazing. So yeah, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Let me know some history from Mel.
So I'm originally from the East Coast. I was born and raised in Connecticut, and I moved out to OC. When was that? It was July 2018. So I've been in Cali for less than 2 years, but out in Connecticut, I got my degree in graphic design, and then my first job was like an in-house graphic designer, and then I moved to an agency who had offices in Chicago, Dallas, and California.
Nice.
So like from the beginning, once I got there, I was like, I'm plotting on moving offices, and once the position opened up, I was like, slot me in there, like let's do this. So yeah, Cali was always like the end goal, or one of the highest goals for me. I just never thought it would happen. So when that opportunity opened up, I was like, this has to be it.
Yeah,
this has to be it. So I drove across the country.
Wait a minute, you drove across the country?
Yeah, with my mom. That shit was
wow.
It was an experience. Like, it was a whole movie. Like, my car broke down in the middle of Chickasha, Oklahoma, on their hottest day of the year in like 10 years. It was like 113 degrees and my AC compressor broke and had to get that fixed. And then we were driving at night and it's like pitch black, like no lights out there, like the middle of nowhere. It was pretty dope. But I'm glad I got that time with my mom to like, you know, before I left, and all my family's back in Connecticut. So I'm the only one out here. And I moved first to Huntington Beach, a month later to Seal Beach, 9 months later to Long Beach, 6 months after that to Hawthorne.
You're just on the beach. You're just on the coast of California, just going.
I came out here for the sun and for the beaches, and none of those, like one of those moves was by choice. But yeah, I've been hopping around ever since.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's cool. That's interesting because, you know, like, I mean, I've been here my whole life. You know, I think the only place that I probably migrated to was probably like Las Vegas.
Okay.
But that's nothing. That's like right in your backyard.
Yeah,
you moved across the country. How was the transition from the culture back home to coming to California, to Southern California?
Yeah, it was exactly what I was looking for. I was definitely looking for a change. And when I got out here, there was such like an entrepreneurial spirit that I fell in love with immediately. And East Coast is kind of like, you know, the closest that Connecticut has to anything that's popping or happening is New York. And yes, that culture is very like hustle and bustle. But there's not so much creation of things just for the sake of creating them. It's like, I'm doing this because I need to feed myself. And out here, I find that everybody that I've met comes out here with the dream to achieve, and they're just doing their creativity for the love of it, and like just to, you know, just to work on something that's their own. So like everyone I met out here like had a podcast. Every phone number that I added to my phone book had a business name after it. So it was really cool to see it, because out here it feels a lot more attainable, because, you know, you start your own podcast, you start your own YouTube channel, all these things. And I feel like back east, you can do that, but to actually hit, it feels so far reaching, because out here, Hollywood's right there. You know, as long as you meet the right people and make those connections, you can get into these rooms because they're right here. And I feel like it's a lot more welcoming, at least for me. I'm pretty antisocial and a little socially awkward, so
the introvert.
Yes, very much so.
But what's your sign?
A Virgo.
I'm a Virgo too.
Okay, the best. But yeah, like out here it was definitely more welcoming, and like since I'm out here by myself, so like I was going to a lot of events, photo meetups, open mics, things like that by myself, and I felt comfortable doing that. And I don't think I would feel comfortable doing that in Connecticut or New York. Yeah. I don't know. It's just like the vibe out here was so much more welcoming to transplants.
So touching upon the differences and the transition from going from the East Coast to the West Coast, what is your background? Ethnicity wise?
Oh, I'm Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican. Hey, Puerto Rico.
There's none out here in California. None. I know two and a whole family actually from Connecticut that I met out here totally serendipitously at a photo meetup.
Oh, really?
I heard someone say Connecticut. I was like, you say Connecticut? And she was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You Puerto Rican? I'm like, yes. So it was like instant family. But yeah, I know like 3 Puerto Ricans out here.
You are the sum of the Puerto Ricans that are living out here in California.
Yes, it's so funny. But yeah.
The transition culturally wise, do you feel like it's more or less the same? Because I know a lot of, you know, Hispanics are out here, Mexican. There is actually a Cuban community in Echo Park.
Really?
So I lived in Echo Park pretty much my whole childhood. My grandparents had a house out there, and every year there was a Cuban festival in Echo Park. And there still is today. It goes on today. So there's an active Cuban community within Echo Park.
Oh, dope. Okay.
So I know there's Cubans out here. I mean, there's Salvadorians, there's Mexicans, of course. We're like right near the border.
There's definitely like way fewer Caribbeans, because like Connecticut has like, you know, Haitians, Bahamians, like so many, and a lot of Puerto Ricans, like a ton of Puerto Ricans. I would say Puerto Ricans are probably the biggest Hispanic or Latinx group out in Connecticut. But even then, it's like there's a lot of Filipinos, Laotians. But yeah, there's a lot more Central American, South American out here, and there's like, I know 2 Bahamian brothers, 2 Puerto Ricans, like no Haitians, very, very few Caribbeans out here. And it makes sense because like geographically.
Yeah.
But I don't think I was ready for like looking around and no Puerto Ricans around me. I don't think I was ready for that.
Yeah, it is one of those transitions, and it's crazy. Kind of, you're not a culture shock because you're still within the Latin community. Yeah. So it's similar.
Like, yeah, I don't say like huepa. Like I go like huepa. Like
no,
look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, damn.
Look, I'm native here, and I don't even speak a lot of the fucking slang that Mexicans talk. No, it's crazy because I went to Miami for Super Bowl weekend for work. Yeah, okay. So I was out there. So
I did see that.
Yeah, so my job was like, hey, can you go somewhere for us? I'm like, yeah, where? Miami. I'm like, yeah, when? In like a day. I'm like, wait, so I gotta pack and do all this, and so I told my girlfriend. She was like, wait, where you going? You're going where and how long and what time frame? Jeez. So I was out there for 5 days. So they sent me out there for a work trip, and it's first of all, Miami's beautiful. Second of all, I wasn't ready for the humidity. Shit just came at me.
It's just like wet heat.
Yeah, it was sticky. But it was great. Miami was great. I had a great experience in Miami. But yeah, it's the cultural differences. Mm-hmm. Cubans and just Caribbean people down there, and it's just like they're fast, man. You guys are fast when it comes to talking.
Oh yeah.
And it was interesting to just see that, you know.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that was like an eye opener. It's like, yes, this is what traveling does. Yeah. It shows you different people. It makes you want to do this more often. And I advise everybody who's listening, travel. Yes. Please travel. Whether you're going on a road trip, like this young lady here, she went fucking across the country in a car with her mom.
Make sure your AC compressor works.
Yeah, make sure. Or you're traveling by plane, by sea, whatever. But go ahead and go out and travel, you guys. You're going to see some stuff that you're not going to see locally. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about it. You're going to see brand new things. You're going to be enlightened. You're going to be open-minded about different cultures.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. I always recommend for people to travel solo at least once. Like just go on a trip, whether it's a group travel trip and you'll be like, you know, with like a tour guide, and like so you won't be alone, but also try going alone, like completely alone to just anywhere that you haven't been. You'll learn so much about yourself, about your resilience, about your ability to figure shit out. Like if you don't know the language, you know, you learn so much about yourself. And even if you're traveling with strangers, you'll learn so much about other people's cultures, other people's walks of life. And if you can, definitely try and get immersed in the culture that you're traveling to instead of just, you know, staying in the 4 or 5 star hotels. And I'm on to talk because I'm bougie as fuck. So I'm like, let me get like a nice bed or whatever. But when I just went to Cuba, we stayed at a...
oh, you went to Cuba?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Casa Particular, which is basically someone's house that they like Airbnb out. But there was the street that we were on was like it's such a little discovery that you wouldn't necessarily be able to be exposed to if you're just like at one of the ritzy hotels down in you know, Old Havana, where like the whole strip is. Like where we were was off the beaten path. Exactly. And it was so much more of an immersive experience in the culture. And I definitely recommend, you know, if you can travel solo, and if you can travel solo, travel authentically.
How does that affect you as a creative, seeing that or like going and experiencing that?
I mean, it's just that kind of like change agent of being somewhere new and like being exposed to stuff. It's such a catalyst for like just different ideas and like what you could be doing with your creativity. And at least for in Cuba, it was definitely an eye opener. And like, you know, just coming back, having so much gratitude for shit like Wi-Fi and grocery stores where I can go get as much food as I want instead of having rations and only being able to buy certain shit on certain days, and not having to go to a Wi-Fi park to get Wi-Fi, having it in my house, like just shit like that. It makes you so grateful, and it opens your eyes to how much you actually have and take for granted every day. And then you're like, okay, what can I actually do with what I have that I'm actually taking for granted for that so many people in this world don't have for themselves?
Definite eye opener.
Yeah.
So I follow you on Instagram. I follow you on your social media, and you have this amazing segment that you do every Wednesday. Can you please tell us and tell the audience what this is?
Yes. So last in 2019, January, as I said, I fell in love with like the entrepreneurial spirit out here, and the fact that everyone I was meeting was not only Black and brown, but they had their own businesses, like their own podcasts, their own entrepreneurial ventures. And I wanted to start shouting that out and just showing people how possible it is for you to start something like that of your own, and two, how easy it is to support these businesses if you just, take the time to search for them. And maybe not everyone has that time to search for them, so I want to put them front and center on my platform. So it's called WOMI Small Biz, and it's basically shouting out women and or minority-owned small businesses, and that includes Black, Indigenous, people of color, LGBTQIA, anyone. The only audience that I'm consciously excluding is white cishet men. Let's just be clear. But yeah, any marginalized community that has a business, small business, whether it's products, services, or a small space, I want to shout them out. And I've been doing it pretty consistently every Wednesday. I'll just, either it's people that I know and have met. That's how a lot of the first one started. But once I opened my mind up to like actually looking for these kinds of businesses, they just all like started flowing in. Like I did the whole year of WOMI Small Biz. The second season, like halfway through last year, I started shouting out WOMI Small Biz spaces. So like physical spaces that hold events and hold safe space for these marginalized communities. And I started expanding it to video content and actually interviewing the founders of these companies, so you get more face time with who you're actually supporting, which I think is really important. And this year I've kind of dialed it back because I felt like a hypocrite if I didn't actually support them monetarily and like buy something of theirs. So every week I was buying a new WOMI Small Biz product every single week
from the
to
people
shout
that
out.
you're featuring.
Yeah, because I wanted to make sure, I'm reviewing the product, making sure it's legit. I didn't want to shout anything out that was like janky or anything.
Yeah.
So, however, given these bills and the amount of times that I've had to move, that's not exactly a sustainable lifestyle for me. So I've dialed it a little bit back, where it's less product reviews and more just literally just shouting them out, because as I tell everyone in most of my stories, it's like, even if you can't support them monetarily, just like them, follow them, share their profile, because it doesn't take money to support these businesses, especially if they're thriving and surviving off social media, which is such a big, huge, important tool for them. Something as simple as a share or a like, or something free like that can help them. So I still want to be able to shout them out in that way. I just can't afford to, shell out that money every week anymore. But I'm still shouting them out, and I actually have like a list of enough businesses for the rest of the year.
That's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you guys out there who are listening, you guys want to help support a small business, I think the best thing to do is to just purchase something from that small business, or even just give them a shout out or push the brand itself. I mean, I think any little thing will help. It's great. It's great to hear that, especially knowing that we're supporting, these businesses. As we come to a close, as we draw closer down to the end of the episode, can you let me know something that you feel you could have told yourself maybe 5-10 years ago that now? Like, what would you give your younger self advice on?
How much time we got? I would definitely say one of the things I want to talk about on the next podcast that I appear on is going to be, I would tell myself to not pay so much attention to what society is telling you your life should be. And it may not seem like society is telling you these things, but if you sit back and really think what you want for yourself, as opposed to what you've grown up hearing that you should want, and seeing what you've grown up seeing around you, I would definitely say, like, just don't plan, don't be a Virgo so much and plan on all the things that you've been growing up seeing, and really just like give yourself time to figure out what you want, because that was such a big thing. Growing up, I had my whole life planned out and it did not involve anything that's happening now, and I would not want it any other way. And just being open to, shocker, maybe not having a plan and just seeing what happens and being open to the universe. And I would have told myself to just be open to the universe and what's being put in front of you, and pay more attention to the signs, for sure. Spirituality was something that I found later in life, but it's like if you're open to and just really see what's going on around you, and being open to what's in front of you as opposed to what you think you should be doing or what you've been told you should be doing, including like college. Like if I could go back, I don't know if I would have gotten myself into 20 years of debt for a degree that, you know, so many designers that I meet now are self-taught, and through internships and experience, it's so much less of a burden to not have these student loans every month to have to pay. And so much fucking time was wasted on science and geology classes. But growing up, I was told, you know, you have to go to college, you have to have a degree, have a backup plan, all these things. And I would have wanted more autonomy in my life when I was younger, and just being open to bigger ideas and things that were not force fed to me growing up. Super long-winded.
Well, wise words from a wise woman.
Thank you.
Mel, thank you for being on the podcast. And can you let everybody know where they can find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Multifaceted. So the word multifaceted, but with an E, because the beginning is Mel, like my name. So, you know.
Very clever.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yes, thank you once again for being here, and we do appreciate it. It's you blessed us with our second episode, and thank you everybody for tuning in. My name is Michael Real, and this one is the Create One podcast. Thank you guys. Bye.
Woo!
Bounce to the noise and shit, breaking all the rules, chronic blues, killing the accordions. We don't follow these sort of